Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thrillers, monster movies, and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week. I'm Cindy Thompson, who apparently doesn't know how to read.
I'm Monica Hay.
And I'm Chelsea Duff.
I love how you're like surprised. Like, what?
It's like all of a sudden I'm seeing unfamiliar words.
All of a sudden,
thrillers, monster.
I was like, what is this word?
Yeah.
We've been doing this for 6 years, and if I don't do it with it pulled up, I get it wrong. I know all of the words. Don't ask.
Look at them
it's
again.
Your security
because
blanket.
What does this? I mean, Monica will tell us what this movie is in a second, but I'm curious where on that list it falls. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Well,
Thriller?
That's something we'll discuss. Yeah. What's something we'll discuss? That's something we're going to get into as one of our topics. But today is a very auspicious day because it is the grand finale of Pop Star Horror Month.
Whoop,
Fanfare,
whoop.
fanfare. Woo! The crowd goes wild.
Jazz
wow, you see the whole
hands.
stadium filled with people. There's M. Night. There's, I forgot her name. Salika?
Lady Raven.
Lady Raven.
Lady
I don't
Raven.
know her real name.
Our Lady
Whatever.
of Raven.
But we've had so many incredible, illustrious pop stars with us this past month, and I would like to give them a shout out and a thank you. I love them all so much. But a new player has entered the game. A fourth pop star has entered the genre. Or arguably not, depending on how we decide to define the genre of this film. But fuck that, who cares? We're doing the brand spanking new release from A24, Mother Mary. That was for the YouTube crowd. And if you're not on YouTube
exclusive.
get fucked. Anyway, so here is the IMDb logline for this film. Long buried wounds arise. Oop, I messed it up. Long buried
Reading is hard.
Can't do it now. Okay. All right. I got it. Long buried wounds rise to the surface when iconic pop star Mother Mary reunites with her estranged best friend, and former costume designer Sam Anselm. I don't know how to say that. On the eve of her comeback performance.
Dun, dun, dun.
We're doing really good today. I just saw this movie. Okay, I just saw this movie right now. I literally saw it moments ago, and I'm still reeling from it.
It's very fresh for you. Yeah.
It's very fresh for me. I'm feeling a lot of feelings. I have to say.
That was
I'm
me
feeling a lot of
yesterday
feelings.
after I saw it.
Oh my God. Whoa. And also, I just want to say that once again, Chelsea really influenced my experience of this film because I misunderstood something she said to me. Because I wanted to see this movie twice. And then yesterday I was going to go right after work. And I went to go do that and realized that my friend's birthday party was literally right then. And I had totally forgot about it. And it would be a real big bitch move if I didn't fucking show up. Like everybody else was there. And I was like, oh, sick. So canceled that. Did not go see the movie yesterday. And God, Chelsea was right. I really wish I had seen it twice. But the reason that she wanted me to see it twice, I thought, was because it would be one of those things where there's a grand reveal at the end of something and there's like little hints throughout. Because she said, I'm sure you will lock in, but I remembered it as clock it. Like clock whatever is happening. So the whole time I was watching this movie, like I never blinked the whole time.
Trying to catch it the first
time.
time.
Trying to catch it. I can't wait to tell you all the things I thought might be clues to something. It's very interesting, and maybe they mean something, and I don't know what it is. But yeah, it's not that kind of movie. I found out it's not that kind of movie, and that's okay.
I needed to see it twice. I did think that you might be able, if you were, I thought you might be the kind of person who'd be predisposed to rock with the vibe first time around. The first time I saw this movie was a week ago. And it was so not the movie that I was expecting to see based
Oh,
on the trailer that
I get it.
because it's the whole thing. I mean, the first half is sort of a movie, and then the second half is a metaphor. And I was just expecting a lot more plot in the movie than
Yeah.
this movie is. And so the first time when the movie finished, the girl who was sitting next to me and I were both like, "Was is this what you expected based on the trailer? Like, what happened? Do you think just now?"
Okay.
Um, so I needed to see it a second time to fully evaluate the movie that it was
Instead of just being
and
like,
not
why
be,
aren't you the
yeah,
movie I thought you were?
instead of
Yeah.
being so like I couldn't immerse myself in the movie because the whole time I was so like
What the
taken
fuck?
aback. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing some mixed reactions online where everybody that I've talked to about the movie has been very like, what was that? Was it not good? And then people I've seen online who are familiar with David Lowery's work, the writer direct, I think he's the writer, but he's definitely
Yeah,
the
he's the writer.
director.
He's the
Yeah,
writer and the
writer
director.
director. People who are more familiar with his work, he did another movie called A Ghost Story, I think, or The Ghost
Fuck!
Story. And
Yeah.
he did The Green
I
Knight.
want
And
to see that so bad. Sorry, keep
yeah,
going as
that's
I
okay.
scream.
He did The Green Knight also, and he wrote this movie and was working on this movie while he was filming The Green Knight, so it seems like they share a lot of DNA. I haven't seen anything else that he's done except for maybe some of the like Disney stuff, maybe. Um, but he's done a lot of things that seem like they're much more like artistic like this, and I think if I hadn't been prepared for that going in the first time, maybe I would have been like, "Oh my God, he's an artist, he's amazing, blah blah blah," because that's how I saw some people online reacting. But I was not prepared until I had already seen the movie once, and then I could watch it again and be fully
Okay.
engaged with the actual material.
Okay, because you also said to me, like, you said that you talked to Chris, shout out Chris, and you're like, if anyone could, it's Monica. And so I was like, wow, it's my. Remember that one time Leo said I was the most observational or whatever? I've like noticed things the most. I
Observant.
was like, observational. Jesus
Observational.
Christ. I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. I was like, wow, she really thinks I'm gonna get the twist early. But you're saying I am the one out of the three of us who has the most propensity to like the
Like,
slowest burn art
yeah.
film of all time. And you are right. And I did love it on the first watch. I loved it immediately. I watched this movie and I was like, what the fuck was the I texted Chelsea immediately. I was like, what the fuck is the ending? I wasn't sure if you had finished watching it yet, Sydney. I didn't know what your schedule was. And then I was like sitting there trying to figure out what the end meant. And then I just like burst into tears like halfway through the credits. No joke. I was just sitting, I literally texted you that. I was like, I'm crying now. I don't know what's going on. So I think it really have profoundly affected me. I think I figured out why on the car ride home, but we'll have to have my therapist weigh in tomorrow.
Sydney,
But
tell us about your experience.
uh Surprisingly, it was like me, a couple, and like 6 men in the theater.
okay,
Like six, like all
how do the men
solo.
feel?
Like they were like all spaced out, just like solo men, me and a couple. Um I really liked this movie actually.
I'm so
Like,
shocked to hear that, and I'm so
I thought it
happy.
was going to be very challenging for you.
well, here's the thing. If you've ever experienced a like homo romantic friend breakup, I think this movie is for you.
Yeah.
Like,
And
because
that's what I'll be
like,
discussing in therapy tomorrow. So continue.
and as somebody who has had a like at least one significant like homo romantic where
Yeah.
just between like friends, right? That were just like really enmeshed, let alone like just ignoring like a girlfriend breakup. But like like I think
You're really
even
close friends with somebody, you stop being friends, you're like, why did that hurt so bad? Upon
like
reflection, you're like, oh.
because like too when you're dating, like and things happen, I think friendship like, and especially between women who get to that certain level of like,
Mhm.
and I
Mhm.
say like homo-romantic, right? Because like you're not sleeping
an
with each other, you're not doing anything, but like you are so
If it were explicitly
intimate.
romantic or sexual, you'd understand what was going on.
But like
It's so there's an intimacy you
intimacy
can
of
reach
yes,
that's like souls
exactly.
touching. Yeah.
Yes, that like I think truly maybe only like women who aren't dating but like are friends, like it's a very unique experience that I think
Yeah.
only two women can experience. Like I'm not saying that men can't also, but like it's different. Know what I mean? Like just the way women are together specifically, like, and I do think that this movie captures that incredibly well.
Yeah, I mean, I again to mimic everyone else who is giving this bad reviews, like wasn't expecting this at all. And I can totally see like our friend Caitlin, Chelsea, remember, Caitlin, fucking hated this shit. Hated it so much. And I'm watching this movie and I was like, it's one of those ones, it's a weird experience when you're watching a movie where you're like, I can see exactly why everyone hates this and I understand why they hate it so much and I don't agree and I feel completely differently. Like, it's definitely not a one size fits all movie. Definitely not gonna hit for everyone. But yeah, exactly. Like, it just hit me in such an emotional place. And I love just how it was this artistic exploration. It almost felt like a play at
I
times
agree.
Yes.
because it's like this one setting, that where not warehouse, like farmhouse,
The
The
whatever.
barn.
barn.
The barn, yes, was like the stage, and then they would like shoot to these other, like the way it was directed was like a play. Like they would like
Yeah.
turn on lights in one part of the stage, and there's something already happening, and like I loved that aspect of it. I love that the sense of reality was like very askew. Like it's like there's no real, like what is real in this, what isn't real in this, but it's not like some big twist thing where it's like, were they dead the whole
Did
time?
you
That was one
catch
of my
it? There was
theories.
a ghost.
I one of my theories was like one of them is hallucinating and the other one's dead. Because I thought there was gonna be a twist. Oops. That's not the case. I really did think that though at the end for a second. I was like,
Mm.
what? I don't know. I didn't understand the end right at first. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But anyway, um I loved the structure. I loved it was just like a raw wound. The whole movie is like a raw wound. Like just like how they stick their finger in the cut in their hand or stick the finger in the cut on her chest. Like that's what it feels like you're doing. You're like sticking your fingers. While watching this, you're sticking your fingers into these two women's like horrible gaping wound from the end of their relationship. Define it however you would like. But it's so personal, it's so visceral, it's so close up. And yeah, it's more of an exploration of a feeling than like a storyline. I mean, there's a storyline, but yeah, like you were saying, less plot than expected. Um, but I like that. I guess. Whoa.
Yeah, our friend AJ, who's been on the pod, he helped us cover Misery. This Here's the thing with this movie. It came out in big cities on April 17th and then not for the rest of the country until April 24th. So,
Limited release. And we
yeah,
didn't
limited
know that.
release. And we didn't know
Yeah.
that, so it kind of fucked up our recording schedule, but
So
it's
we're
really cool. We're
recording
rolling
this
with it.
right now on Monday night, and you're gonna hear this Tuesday morning. So I just want to let you know
You're
that Sydney's working
welcome.
That kind of
overtime.
turnaround. Yeah. But because it came out in LA, I did see it the big opening weekend. So did our friend AJ, and he texted all three of us being like, I need the Spookies take. And so I was able to like digest my thoughts a little by texting with him after I saw the movie the first time. Because he was like, so what's your take? And I was like, well, I'm sure I'll continue to process and digest, but it's not what I was prepared for. It was either all dialogue or no dialogue, just vibes.
Mhm.
There's like long stretches where it feels like it's just vibes, but it is just kind of about, this is not what I said to him. This is a more fully formed thought now.
Mhm.
It is kind of just about the idea of this love that existed between them and what happens to it when it's no longer embodied in one person anymore.
Oof. I'm gonna cry again. Yeah. Also, just want to say from Spooky Tuesday to you, AJ, congratulations on your engagement.
Yeah.
Honestly, very exciting. Y'all are so fucking cute. Anyway, yeah, no, it is just an exploration of a feeling. Damn, I really want to text him about it also. Good reminder. But
Um,
yeah, it's hard within the scope of pop star horror too. You're expecting this like grandiosity, and also like with the I think I may have mentioned this at the end of last episode. I'm not sure, but like a lot of the pop star aspects of this, like the Mother Mary of it all, is inspired by Taylor Swift's Eras tour. Okay, or no, Reputation tour. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. I misspoke. I misspoke, and I'm sorry, and I caught it. Like literally, like a huge, crazy stage production, like and they nail all that shit. Like I think that besides Smile 2 of all of our pop stars. They like nail the the grand pop star energy the most here. And also the songs fuck the hardest in this one for me. For me, I'm just speaking for myself. You can speak for yourselves. Um, but like so you came into this movie with this picture of grandiosity, at least I did, that it was going to be this like big thing, but it's not. Is teeny small, little tiny pinprick of a focus point. And you know I love a tiny story that's about two people in a room. Wow, incredible. Thank you for making this movie for me, David Lowery. Or Daniel? I don't know his name.
David, yeah, I think because of the comparisons to Taylor Swift, the Reputation tour, the idea that it was about this homoerotic friendship, people talking about Gaylor and Carly Kloss, etc.
Mm-hmm.
I was prepared to see a movie that was more following their relationship over time as opposed to in this one moment but sort of as a retrospective. And so I just was so I thought the first time I saw it, I was like, I thought it was going to be a lot gayer. I thought it was going to be a lot more things happening in the movie. And honest, I was talking about this with Chris a little bit, because Chris said something kind of similar, that he thought it would be more explicitly queer, and I was like, well, it is. Once you are not so like, what did I just watch? It's fully there. You just kind of have to unravel it a little bit unless you clock in, unless you like are fully I recognize this immediately because I've been there. Unless you have that right away, it's just like it needs to be unraveled a little bit to see I mean, I would have loved if they'd kissed, you know what I mean? But um
Mm-hmm.
that
But it's not
aside,
really a reconciliation. Anyway, sorry, keep going. We'll get to that.
yeah, that aside, not to skip right to the end, but there is, you can see this like brokenheartedness and this tenderness that exists between them, especially at the end when it's kind of like cradling it to your cheek, like holding it tenderly, softly, so intimately in that way that it kind of goes beyond this. I mean, some people's friendships are like that and they are just platonic, but you can see that it is like this real, just like this softness that's there that you don't usually have in such quiet moments of platonic friendship where you're just like sitting in the heaviness of it, holding it, like gazing into each other's eyes. Because in a platonic friendship, as opposed to a homoerotic friendship, you feel so much more capable to like put voice to what's going on because there's nothing that is unspoken or hidden. You can just be like, you're my best friend, I love you. Whereas if it's like something a little more not subtextual exactly, but sort because that's like literary, but like sort of in real life. It's this thing that's sort of like under the surface because it feels very fragile to recognize sometimes, or you don't want to say something if you don't know for sure that it is requited. And so it's just kind of there in these like quiet moments of connection as opposed to like expressing yourself verbally. I don't know, that moment at the end, it's so like, well, that's whatever it is, that is love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that exploration of and the physical manifestation of like where does the love go? Like that line, the opening monologue, maybe I think that's when she says it. Um
I wrote
like
that
it
down.
wasn't until you that I felt like saw how fine the line was between love and hate. You want to say it, you have it written down.
I have the whole thing written down. Yeah. Because I saw this movie twice, and then I also was like, I need to be able to access that full monologue. So I went hunting, and I was able to research and find it. But it says, "You're a carcinogen," I would say to her. "You are a tumor whose malignancy has defined the ebb and flow of all I've done, of all I've tried to do. And yet, in spite of that, do you know how much space you occupy in the entirety of me? This much. You define my life, and yet this is how much you matter to me. If you hadn't shown up on my door this morning, I'd have gladly gone the rest of my days thinking of you like, I don't know, something too mumbly for that moment, something from a distance, flung from your orbit. But now you are here, and the bile is rising and taking the form of words. And what these words mean is never have I known how closely love and hate are bound than when I think of you and realize you deserve neither." And then the second part of it is, "I hadn't seen her in over 10 years, but I could tell she was coming from over a mile away. More than a mile, 1,000 miles. I woke up that morning with a taste in my mouth that I hadn't felt in years. I cast it out of my mind, but as the day went on, the taste left my mouth and traveled to that space behind my eyes where it settled and turned thick. By the time the late flights from LAX to Heathrow were coming in for their landing, I felt as if a secret twin had grown in my skull. It was calling, shouting, screaming, telling me it was coming. She was coming. She was here."
Ugh, I've got to cry like 12 times on this episode, man. Ugh, it's just like because they never had closure. That's the other part of this story. Like, I love the like the malignancy, all of those like cancer related terminology they use in that opening monologue. And it's just like I don't know that the way that the feeling can fester when it's not where it has nowhere to go, and then Michaela Coel's character expels that, and then it takes like that it can take this form, and that it can't you can't like neither of them can actually throw it away because like Sam, right? That's her name.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Sam expels that malignant pain and anger, and then it walks across oceans to find her, to find Mother Mary, to find Anne Hathaway's character, and torments her after that. Like there's no place where it can go that's not between them. I don't know. It's beautiful. God. Ugh. I wish I had more time to think about this before we started recording. I'm sorry. I have so many feelings.
Do y'all have like friendships? Like Alex and I have, lawyer of the pod Alex, have like
Mm-hmm.
things where like we live across country, but like she'll be having like she'll be having a panic attack and I'll be asleep and I'll wake up like at the exact same time that she's having a panic attack because like you're just like weirdly connected to.
Spiritually linked.
Yes, like you're
Mm.
just like weirdly connected to a person. And so like at the beginning, like when we're hearing Sam's like voiceover being like, I knew she was coming, I could feel it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely believe that she could like actually feel her panic and like knew what she was doing, because it's happened to me. Like that shit is real. And if it only happened once, you'd be like, oh, what a weird coincidence. It happens all the fucking time.
Like twins.
Just like things
twins,
like that.
telepathy.
Yeah, I've had a similar experience with my brother one time. So I do believe things like that exist in the world. And
Yeah.
the one of the things something I learned, I did some research for this episode. I found two really great interviews with David Lowery. And something I learned is that the song that is her new song that Mother Mary wants to perform in front of everybody, which is called Spooky Action. I was like, what a fun name. So sad that we never get to hear
Tuesday.
That's the remix that they do later. But it's called Spooky Action. I'm so sad that we never heard it. Of course, you could argue that we saw it. But the reason it's called Spooky Action, because that is so, to me, did not feel in line with the names of her other songs.
Yeah.
Holy Spirit, Burial, Dark Cradle, blah, blah, blah. It's from quantum physics, and it's from a quote by Albert Einstein, where in the 1940s, Albert Einstein, he jokingly, mockingly, it says, described the theory as spooky action at a distance. But David Lowery apparently is like super interested in quantum physics, and that's part of like what he was engaging with here. The scientific phenomenon known as quantum entanglement, in which two particles become linked in a way where any changes to the state of one occurs to the other, even if they are spread across the universe. Like, this is a scientific concept, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe you're like Albert Einstein and you make fun of it, but there are theories here. There are people who research this. There are people who get into the mathematics of quantum physics, which is like tangible. I don't know if that's the right way to describe it, but it is like an actual science as opposed to a theory of quantum entanglement. But you know, it's we're all made up of atoms. We're all individually made up of 100 bazillion little cells that are all part of the larger universe. I don't think it's so crazy to think that things that bond together have a bond, even if you're not standing right next to somebody. So I think those things are built and grow, and they don't always just disappear into thin air the second that things separate.
No, totally. I mean, I think this goes down so many different roles, but like there's like the grief aspect of this, and like we don't need another movie that's an allegory for grief. I get it. People are getting really tired of that. People are saying that to me all the time. I'm still into that, but I get it. We've been getting that a lot. But like the spirit could be the manifestation of that grief, that longing. But I also think there's a part of this that is interesting, that's like the fact that they created Mother Mary as a persona together. And it's like, because like obviously, what's Anne Hathaway's character's name? I'm so sorry.
She's literally just Mother Mary. That's what I realized the second time I saw the movie. I was like, I don't think she has an actual name that they ever say in the movie.
No, because Hilda like writes her a note when she's out of the shower, and it's literally addressed to MM.
Yeah. I feel it's so interesting because like it feels like Sam and Mother Mary like birthed this persona of Mother Mary together.
I have something to say related to that, but you continue.
Yeah, and then like it's their like creative love child, you know, that they've made together, and then Mother Mary just like takes custody of it and rips it away from Sam without much fanfare, or, you know, I don't know, it doesn't seem very legal either. I don't know, kind of sucks. But like, and takes credit for it and all of that. So like that's like another part of this where like Mother Mary is Anne Hathaway, but also it is this like entity that they've created together. And I don't know exactly where I'm going with this, but like that's like something else that like makes the spirit like more corporeal to me. Sorry, because they like created this thing together that takes on a life of its own. Um, and in this scenario, in like a spooky ghost kind of way. I don't know. Anyway, what were you gonna say, Chelsea? I'm still percolating.
I was going to talk about the religious iconography of it a little bit because of course
Ah,
she's called Mother Mary, like the
there's a
Virgin
lot with
Mary, Mother
that.
of Christ.
Mhm.
And I would argue that Sam is also very much positioned as you could say Christ, but I would argue the whole Holy Trinity, um,
Mhm.
because
Say more.
she is the Holy Father in some capacity that creates the Mother Mary figure. She is the Christ-like figure whose career was born of Mother Mary. I think the ghost, as we see it, I mean, it comes from her, is extracted from her. You could say that Anne Hathaway is part of it, but I really think it is explicitly sort of just Sam's love and maybe also hate, because she's kind of saying in the beginning monologue, like, I don't feel either anymore, actually. But it's
She
all of the
already did her
feelings that she
exorcism.
has. Yeah, it's all of the feelings that she has for Mother Mary. So that's the Holy Spirit of it is from her. It's her. The Holy Spirit is her. The Christ-like figure born of Mother Mary is her. The creator of Mother Mary is her. Um, Her hair in this movie kind of is a little evocative, I think, of a crown of thorns. Um, she seems very positioned as like a Christ-like figure. To the wounds in the hand also feel very
Mhm.
um
Do they call
Christ-like.
Christ like the carpenter sometimes?
Yeah, he was a
Is that a thing?
carpenter.
He was a carpenter? Okay,
Jesus
and
was a
she's like,
carpenter. Let's not
yes,
forget.
okay. I don't know a lot of stuff about religion, okay?
Do you
I'm
know
Yeah,
anything
but
sorry.
about
you should
Sabrina
remember the
Carpenter?
iconic Sabrina
I
Carpenter
do
Coachella
remember
set
this.
from last
That's
year
why
or
that's
2
why
years
I
ago.
remember. I know I was there. I literally saw it.
Yeah, Jesus was a carpenter, Monica.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to double check. But like carpenter creating with your hands feels very
Mhm.
similar to the costume design aspect of it. How she's like, in there with her hands, like forging and creating these things. But that also feels like God too, with like, isn't there something with like creating the first man and woman from clay or something? There's something there too. I don't know exactly. Again,
That sounds
I read
kind of
the Spark
familiar.
Notes on the Bible. Maybe I'm thinking of Greek mythology, which I know a lot more about.
Well, since you mentioned it,
Let's
David
go.
Lowery also talked a little bit about the design of the ghost in this movie.
I
And
loved
he
it.
didn't really have anything visual in mind when he was writing the script, but then when he was figuring out how are we going to portray this visually on screen? What is this going to look like? One of the things he started with was sculpting with clay just to kind of get an idea of form. Um, and then he ended up blah 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 blah. He went down looking at this artist named Daniel Wurtzel, who does like sculpture with fabric and air, essentially. And that was really the primary inspiration. I think they worked with Daniel Wurtzel directly on this movie. Like I think they brought him in to be part of that. But just because you mentioned the clay, he started with clay before moving into the fabric space. And in
Oh, yeah, they
terms,
must have. His shit looks exactly like what's in the movie.
yeah, yeah.
It
No,
looks exactly
he
like it.
credited him in the interview.
Good.
And there's like a video in there. It's really cool. Those are in the notes if you want to go look for yourself.
Mhm.
Um, but they also talked about the idea of where he got on onto a pop icon, I'll say. In this other interview I read, they were talking about like the Renaissance art inspirations. That's where a lot of the religious stuff comes into. But the idea, because he wanted to make a movie about somebody who expresses themselves creatively, and then he kind of found his way to about it being a pop star. But the idea of it being an icon of our modern day culture, being a pop star, but kind of they talked about the ethnology of the word icon. And in Eastern Orthodox Christianity, it is a representation of sacred events or special, like that word means a representation of sacred events or especially of a sacred individual such as Jesus, Virgin Mary, or a saint, used as an object of veneration or a tool for instruction. So it's I don't know, it's very interesting, like very specific language that he was engaging with, these ideas of how to build out this movie and thinking of that from a character perspective. It's really, I mean, it's both funny because everybody these days is like, she's Mother about pop figures. That's Mother.
That's Mother.
And I was like, do you think he knows that?
Probably.
But also her Mother Mary as an icon, as a figure, as opposed to a real person, kind of plays into this idea too of Sam holding her up on this pedestal at an earlier stage in their life, thinking of her as like a Joan of Arc figure. The moment when she's like walking down the stairs in the movie and she
has
sees
that
her,
vision.
of Joan of Arc, and then you find out later it's not just like a vision that she's having in this moment. That's like a design that she came up with that was part of the rift between them, where it's like, I saw you, I elevated you to sainthood in my mind, and I put so much of myself into that vision. Like this was shared, and then you gave this whole interview where you were like, this is what I wanted, this is what I envisioned, this is what happened to me, instead of crediting Sam at all. She said, you took that story that was mine. Um so the fall off the pedestal at that point, the fall of the icon,
The
I don't know.
betrayal.
The betrayal, it's so
Yeah.
interesting.
There's another aspect to this whole movie rollout, which I wonder if it's been served to you on your Instagram feeds as well. But there's a little bit of a, it's not really, I don't know, I wouldn't call it a controversy, but like a kind of an unfortunate, in my opinion, coincidence that's gone on with this movie. There is a band called Mother Mary, and they have incredibly similar, like they use similar iconography. They have this headdress thing, the halo. Or what's the other word for it? We just talked about this the other day. Ugh, I can't remember. It's a art history term. I can't remember. But they've been posting all these videos being like, A24, what the fuck? You've like stolen our name, our identity, blah blah blah, and they're not like crediting it or anything. And so I totally understand where they're coming from, because when you look up Mother Mary now, I'm sure that like fucking Jesus shit was coming up first before, but like you're gonna, anything about them is gonna be pushed further down because of this movie.
It's just like the band Spooky Tuesday.
Exactly. We've totally ruined them. We've ruined them. We've ruined them completely. Yeah. Shout out to the Christian rock band. Is that what they were? Spooky Tuesday.
I don't think so.
I thought
That
they
would
had
be funny,
Christian
though.
vibes.
Oh,
Anyway.
that's what I'm seeing on Amazon.
Yeah, they're Christian rock. Anyway, but yeah, so they're like, I understand why they are so frustrated, and you guys should listen to their music. It is really cool. But I think that unfortunately, like the idea of using Mother Mary iconography, like the religious themes of this movie, it's not like they could choose any other thing to do. Like that is like so integral to this story. The like
also, like,
religious
Mother Mary
parts
and
of it.
religious iconography go together anyways. So like if I don't know the band, I don't know anything about them, but like when I think of like Mother Mary and stuff, I think of like the Renaissance paintings that we were talking about like earlier and that kind of stuff, which is what this movie gives.
I think I feel for them, certainly, especially because, and I'm not really familiar with their music, but I have watched part of the TikToks about it at least. They make electropop as well. So I can see how it feels like an infringement. But kind of
Totally.
like we're saying, they're certainly not the first people to have ever made art surrounding the idea of Mother Mary, Virgin Mary, or religion in general. Their thing is that they, I think, were former Mormons, they're ex-Mormons, so they left the church, and a lot of their music is sort of a reflection of that experience. And the sense that I got before I saw this movie is that they maybe thought that the movie would be more explicitly engaging with religion, maybe, and those themes of religion, as opposed to using religious visuals to engage with, like, I guess you could argue like love as religion in this movie. Worshiping love, worshiping someone
Yeah,
that
like
you love.
devotion.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I mean, I don't I don't really think, but also I can understand why they would be upset. But unfortunately, I think it's just one of those
I think it's
things
like
where they
two
picked
ideas that
something
came up
that's, yeah,
parallel.
because there's another influencer on TikTok. I think her name is Aria Velez, something like that. Who talks a lot about lesbian media, and so they're always popping up on my feed. And their wife is working on a play that they also were going to call Mother Mary. And then when this movie was coming out, they were like, okay, let's brainstorm some new names, I guess, because we don't want to be in competition. So like I get it in the sense that I remember all the controversies about like when Lady Antebellum changed their name to Lady A, and then there was another musical artist already named Lady A that was like, "Hey, we had that first." But those are two actual musical artists who are
Yeah.
competing in the same space, and I get it because it's a musical artist in this movie, but
Mhm.
it's a movie and it's not a real artist, and it is a shame and unfortunate that this happened, but I don't really think that anyone was intentionally
Yeah.
encroaching.
Yeah, and also if you go onto Spotify or Apple or Tidal, whatever you're doing, and you look up Mother Mary, they did not take the name Mother Mary as the artist name. The artist is attributed to Anne Hathaway, and on an album called Mother Mary Greatest Hits. So the band does come up right under that too. So like that can be hopefully
Hopefully,
boost.
yeah.
Hopefully that'll
Yeah.
boost them, and then it might have some positive effect instead of a negative one. And, people are talking about them. We'll link to their stuff in the show notes. You can check them out if you'd like to, but it's just unfortunate that it would be similar. I mean, you're going to be called Mother Mary. You're going to do the Halo thing.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
going to do the Halo thing. That's kind of the most kind thing you can do with that name. It's very iconic. Also, I just want to say, I did not have this. This was Alex's. Someone from one of my parties stole it because she wanted it really bad and then felt bad and brought it back to my party for my birthday. And so I did not have this until like 2 weeks ago. So just on time. So thanks, Simone.
That's
I would have stole
hilarious.
it drunk too. um, but yeah.
Let's talk about the actual music for a second while we're sort of on the subject, because there is a lot of interesting stuff in the lyrics here. I know Monica said this is like very much your type of music. It wasn't necessarily my type of music at first, but it's growing on me the more
Mhm.
that I listen. And when I looked up some of the lyrics, I really was like, okay, well, that's very interesting. I think well, my first thought I think was not correct, because there's that part in the beginning of the movie that's like, cover your ears, this song is cursed. And that was one of the things that set up some, I think, unfulfilled expectations for me the first time around, where I
Mm.
thought there was going to be more. They were pitching it as like a supernatural movie, which I see
Yeah.
why, but I was
Mhm.
thinking more like witchy coven kind of stuff, especially when they were like, this song is cursed. And then I was like, oh, okay, never mind, I guess. But I thought that song was Burial, because that's what Anne Hathaway is singing right before. Now I'm thinking it might actually be Holy Spirit. Um, but I pulled some lyrics from Burial that I thought were very interesting, and then I pulled up the lyric pages for two other songs because they're like so rich that I didn't even want to pull excerpts. Um, but Burial, one of the lyrics is, "I was born to be the widow of love, which I think is very interesting in this
Mm.
context. This
Mhm.
idea that the love existed in Michaela Coel, but then has been extracted and turned into a ghost. You could argue that it has died to some degree. So she's the widow of that love that existed there, that no longer is embodied in anyone. Another lyric
Mhm.
is, my red heart free like a dove, but you tell me that it's never enough. There's a line, don't come closer, I'll push you further. I'm mesmerizing a brutal lover. And then another line, this black suit fits like a glove. This red heart bleeds like a dove, but your teeth tell me I'm not enough. This is your burial. And that line in particular, it kind of relates back to the you tell me that it's never enough. But to say, and that line specifically, your teeth tell me I'm not enough, I thought was very interesting within the context of the ghost being expelled from Sam's wisdom tooth. It was in her wisdom tooth that cracked and had to be extracted. Whether or not you're pulling it out with pliers or going to the dentist, it's like it lived in her mouth, it lived in her teeth and her smile and her wisdom tooth, specifically kind of tying it to the idea of something intellectually realized or wise or smart. um but also you speak with your mouth, blah blah blah. The idea of saying you're not enough, it kind of hints that maybe there was something that maybe did sort of come to a point that was verbalized at some point between them. It wasn't explicitly maybe acknowledged for what it was, but there
Which
was
song
some
is this?
sort of, this is Burial that I'm still talking
Okay,
about.
keep going.
I was born to be the widow of love is just like you, it has the vibes of someone wanted something more than what was there. And if we're just going with what they tell us explicitly in the movie, you could say it's about that artistic credit. She wanted to be part of the project in a more public way, in a more recognized way. Certainly she is, because she has this whole thriving fashion career where people make the link, but she was not given credit in that Vogue interview for her ideas. So you could say it's like, you wanted more than what I gave you, but also there's the read there of, you wanted to
You wanted,
have more between us than what I could offer.
and she's like, was maybe scared of being out in the public eye because
Yes.
she is, yeah, a pop
Yeah.
star. It's hard.
Cut Ties is really interesting, in terms of, them cutting ties. It says, I danced around the garden, was crushed in every flower, had to cut ties to be starlight. So you could argue that she had to distance herself from Sam, Michaela Coel's character, to be the star that we see her as. She couldn't, if she felt like this possible queer identity would limit her ability to be
Mhm.
a huge pop star, kind of like people argue with Taylor Swift. If you're a Gaylor, she wanted to come out, but then blah 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 what was going on, and so she had to maintain her family friendly image because she couldn't possibly alienate anyone further at that time by coming out. So it's kind of a similar thing here.
So she came out as a Democrat instead.
And that's close enough. No.
Basically the same thing.
But it's kind of in that song
Aw.
there of like, she says, chain to the heaven I like, chain to the heaven I like, this heaven of mine. So it's kind of like you're forever tied. But if I want to be this huge figure, if I want to have this fame and this success, I had to cut ties. And so we had to separate. And I could only be
Yeah.
this without you, but I also am only this because of you.
Similar, okay, back to the other song you're saying, Burial. I didn't pull up
Mhm.
those lyrics yet, but I'm looking at the lyrics to Blue Flame because that's the one where I cried, I think. Anyway, the lyrics are super simple though, but going back to the idea of the spooky action and like the two atoms being like inextricably bound, and like Anne Hathaway's reaction when she hears about the tooth extraction that Sam goes through, like the lyrics to this song say, Blue flame is burning up. She's reaching out. She's reaching out. Your name was in my mouth. She took it out. She took it out. So again, more of this like mouth stuff. To say
No,
it
there's a lot of mouth
eloquently.
stuff.
We love
'cause her
mouth
other
There's a
song
lot
is
of mouth
My Mouth
stuff.
is Lonely Without You.
Yeah,
Same
but
girl.
like the she took it out. Like it's like literally like the
Extracted.
tooth was extracted. That extraction was her expelling me from her life. And it's like she didn't know that that happened. Anne Hathaway didn't know that that happened, but she felt that shit and wrote this song, you know?
And I think Sam's color is blue because
Yeah,
she's wearing
blue.
blue when
And
she
she
gives
wear
Anne Hathaway
dresses
something to
and in
wear.
blue.
hmm
Mhm.
There's the Blue Flame song, but then also in Holy Spirit too, which is the song that she's singing, which is like her encore song during the fall, that big moment. There's a lyric that it says, "Your sacred heart's blue." So I was thinking of the Halsey song earlier. That's like, I was read in
Loving
your
him
blue.
is
Yeah,
red.
yeah, that one.
Maddie
It's
Healy,
like the
Healy, a
love.
great muse.
Okay. The love that existed, the hate that existed, that is like red fabric, but also tissue, bleeding, pulsing. But Sam is like blue, calm, contained, like a different, like chill, relaxed
Oh,
vibe. What are you
did you
reading?
ever feel the sway of my hips, the press of my fingertips? No, I ain't gonna win this fight. Did you ever feel the? And then it's just a blank. Oh, babe, I spent my whole life praying for my whole life. Wow. I'm gonna cry every time I do anything related to this movie. Oh, it's just like, it's so interesting too. Like when they're confronting each other and they're like, I told you that I was like, Anne is like, I told you I'm doing this. I told you that I was like gonna go in
I
a
told you
different
I needed a
direction.
change.
And then you never talked to me literally ever again. And then Sam is like, you fired me. And what was I supposed to do? Still be your friend? Like, and they just can't see eye to eye. They both feel like they've been wronged by the other. And it's just, oh, I don't know. It's so hard, like, seeing in a like friendship breakup sort of situation or relationship breakup, whatever homoerotic friendship, whatever terms we were using earlier on in the episode. Um, like it's so easy to like take sides, take your own side, and all of those types of things. And like you can only feel from your own perspective, but you can't like really heal until you like forgive someone or at least understand that like it's a two-way street. So I feel like sort of that's what's happening in the catharsis of this movie. And the end, they're like finally seeing each other, and it's like not to bring up Taylor Swift, but like the all too well lyric that's like, did the love affair maim you too? They're like seeing each other and seeing how they were both so hurt by what happened and being like validated by the fact that they were both destroyed by this, but then also like coming to a place where it's not like they're it's not like quite forgiveness or whatever. Maybe it's forgiveness, maybe it's settling whatever it was, but it's not reconciliation. Like whatever is happening at the end of this movie, like they're not going to live happily ever after. That's not what this is. It's about like closure as far as you can get it. But like they don't, and she's not at the end of the movie, she's not wearing the dress. She's not, they didn't come together and create this art together again. It didn't work again. Like that's not what the end of the movie is. We see it. And so but that's because it's not like about that. It's about their having this time to like reconcile in whatever way they can. But I don't think they'll be friends after this. I don't think that you can go back to what you can never go back to what they had before, but I don't think they'll go back. I don't think they'll like be in each other's lives after this.
But I don't know. Part of me thinks like their ghost is like a metaphor of their like clearly shared trauma of
Yeah.
their friend breakup, right? And so in a way, like this is like I'm not a big believer in like closure or anything like that. Like
Yeah.
like that means nothing for me, quite frankly. Like I'm not, but some people seek out and they need to like rehash or they need to like try and do something like that.
Understand what happened. Yeah.
Right. So I think like this is them dealing with their like shared combined breakup trauma and then going on about their lives. Because like again, like you were saying, it's not they're not going back into what they were. Like they probably won't even they might honestly it could leave a door open for like friendship, like a light, like friendship, but never how it was.
I don't know that I agree with this because
I could tell that by the look on your face. You look
yeah,
so
I'm thinking
perturbed.
about it and I'm trying to think about the actual ending of the movie to see why we're coming to different conclusions, but to me it was like okay, I mean I looked up just for some additional color. Um it's the ghost is extracted from her wisdom tooth, according to East Village Dental, so you know that they are experts.
It's true.
The symbolism of wisdom teeth in various cultures is about the shift into adulthood and the acquisition of wisdom, rites of passage, blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of like Sam extracts that and she's able to come into her own as her own person, separate. And then the palm chakra is where Anne Hathaway opens the door, blah blah blah, and that's where the ghost first touches her is in her hand when she's in the bath. And I thought the bath was interesting because if you're watching YouTube, you'll know that I'm wet rat Anne Hathaway, and it's is my cosplay this week. Her hair is perpetually wet throughout the movie. She's just come out of the rain, then she takes a shower. And I think to some degree it's to show the lack of passage of time and the actual chronology of what we see. But also, I think symbolically, it's like she's always just gotten out of that bath where she had the first contact with the ghost.
Mm-hmm.
But your palm chakra is reflected, it's related to like our ability to create what we want and need in the world, receiving the gift of touch to express our love. It touches her hand first. And then during the fall, when she gets like fully embodied in it, it goes in her mouth. So it goes like from one mouth to the other. The lyric, "My mouth is lonely without you." But then when it's extracted at the end, it comes from her chest, from her heart. And that's kind of the moment that I was talking about earlier is like Sam is the one that goes in. It's like a birth. It's like she births the fabric, the spirit again. There's a line earlier in the film that's like we're going to take all these feelings and turn them into a dress. So it's like she pulls the love out that's been weighing Anne Hathaway down, the love and the hate that's been like haunting her, making her so sad, making her feel so haunted without the ability to explain why. And then it becomes this like beautiful, lovely, living thing that she holds so close to her chest. And then when everybody bursts in at the end, it falls to the ground flat. It's like you see her holding it to her face, and then it's on the ground flat, dead, lifeless. Maybe because everyone has walked in on them, it's no longer something that's like private just between them, but also it has new life because it's become this fabric now that she lovingly like presses and pleats and makes into this beautiful dress at the end. And we're not really seeing this. This is like part of the vision that Hunter Schafer's character Hilda is. She's painting this idea for us. We don't really see the reality. Um, but it's like even as the friends are driving her away, it's like Sam is with her the whole time, escorting her to the limo, the car, or whatever it is. They have this final moment, and then the last we see of them is like this love this love that was extracted turned into a ghost haunting you, holding you down, making you feel scared and out of control and afraid. and that needs to be extracted from you to become a living, breathing thing again, given new life. And then it is enrobed in you. You're wearing it. It's like you're dressed in it on stage for all to see, and it's connected to me publicly, standing on stage with you. To me, that felt very metaphorical to like before we couldn't publicly have any kind of relationship, and it destroyed whatever relationship we did have, to the degree that we there was nothing between us anymore other than something outside of both of us. um and now it's like lovingly wrapped around you, and here I am standing with you. It shows that it is like my love coming from my body, that it is enrobed in you and everyone can see. I don't know that. I mean, I don't know what happens
I
for
don't know.
them next, but it felt very
Yeah,
like
because she's not
I-
wearing the dress
She's not wearing the
at
dress.
the end.
She's not wearing the dress at the end. She doesn't wear the dress at the end, Chelsea. She's wearing the blue dress from the beginning that she freaks out about, and she rips it off of her body because it mimics kind of what Sam was describing as an idea for her to do for her performance, where she's ripping off these things that aren't her, and then she's just laid bare in this like cream colored, skin colored outfit kind of thing, and you can see her scars, her literal scars, and then she's just herself. And then at the end, you don't even hear her song. You see Sam's art, which is the dress.
And then you see like Sam looking at her like a vision floating above in the dress, but like she's not actually wearing the dress.
I don't think that when we see her walking onto the stage stripping, I don't think that is real, because that is also the image that Sam is painting for her earlier in the movie when she's saying, wouldn't that be obvious? I don't think that is.
I think it's
I don't.
all up to interpretation. There's also stuff I've read where they think that this is like happened a little later on, and that she's just made the dress. Like they didn't
Just
make
to
the
do
dress in
it.
time for this in the event, but she like had this inspiration from this interaction. Yeah, I think it was, for me it was more meaningful that like it's ended on not like a happily ever after note, because they've just had this like evening together, this like like reunion, um that like, you know, we're primed as movie watchers to be like, this is the great reunion where they come together and they squash the beef and they figure it out and they're come back together again. But I don't think that that's what this is. I think that it's them exercising like the feeling of what they meant to each other, but like there are things that happen that can't be overcome. And like, I don't know, I think her, if she was wearing the dress at the end, I'd believe that, but I think that it's more beautiful than that, because it's like the same way that Mother Mary wrote all these songs that are all about Sam, you know, like you take your pain and you turn it into art. So Michaela Coel's character is like, has exercised this part of their shared trauma and their shared pain that they have for each other and turned it into this beautiful dress. And it doesn't, and that is her grand gorgeous work of art. Her song like Spooky the greatest song of all time, I'm using scare quotes to quote the film. Like this is her like magnum opus that she's created through like finally understanding this pain and having this moment with Anne Hathaway's character. But I don't think
And like
that it comes together.
Hunter Schafer's character is like monologuing basically while Sam is making that dress at the end, and she's like this is what she's doing, this is blah blah blah, like she's singing like your song, which means like she's like
singing it for you.
Yeah, but like she hasn't made a dress, like she hasn't made a dress for her, hasn't done, and like she's not wearing a dress. Because my guess is like they're talking, because it was supposed to be, they had like 3 days, right?
Yeah, it's like Thursday, she needs it by
Sunday. So my guess is like it's Sunday, and she's like, what time is it? And she said she was going on at this, and so like they're working on the dress. It's Sunday. What, like, so she doesn't have the dress.
I guess I'm not saying that when she's wearing the dress on stage, the red dress on stage, that is reality. I think that the last we see of reality is Anne Hathaway getting in the limo and Michaela Coel making the dress. When we see her ripping off the other outfit from the beginning of the movie, I think that's also metaphorical of her, because what Michaela Coel describes in the beginning of, like, you tear away all the pieces, you're on
Yeah,
stage
that's what I
naked in front
say.
of everyone. So I think you can interpret it however you want at the end. I don't think that we see what happens after that. And to me, I don't know, maybe it is like a beautiful wish kind of thing of like, here's the picture I'm painting for you to make this dress, which is your love, which you will be showing to everyone like a museum piece, even if it can't be completed in time for the actual event. I think, to me, we don't see the event, whatever the dress, the performance on Sunday. Um, I don't know. To me, it was very powerful to have this idea of like being on stage in front of everyone. I'm tethered to you in front of everyone, even if it's just an idea.
And that's the beauty of movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I think we just are interpreting it differently. I really think that for me, it's much more that they're like their meeting was a disaster in a lot of ways. Like Mother Mary, Anne Hathaway went off the grid for like 2 days. Everybody was freaking out about where she was. I feel like for that moment when the whole team runs back in. By the way, shout outs to that lady who's the sister in Fleabag, who was the manager. Love her.
Oh, is that who that is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with the crazy. Remember the sister who gets the crazy haircut in Fleabag?
Yeah,
That's her.
yeah,
Like a pencil.
Like a pencil.
Claire, it's French.
Claire. It's French. Yeah. I don't know how you say it. Sian.
Sean.
Sean Clifford. That's who that actress is. And then Kaya Gerber. Of course. Anyway, but like I feel like that was like reality coming back in and like breaking up the moment of that shared feeling, because it's like, yes, they do have this insane connection, but the reality is what the reality is, and it's not like that. This isn't getting resolved back to what it was in 2015 when they had this breakup, I don't know. I just think that like it's more powerful for me that like then she makes this dress at the end and it's like this gorgeous art and it's representative of everything that they went through, but it's not for her. It's not for Mother Mary anymore. It's for Sam, just like how the song was for Sam. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? It makes a lot of sense to me, but I don't know if I'm totally explaining myself the way that I want to.
No, it makes sense. And I can see that as a read of the movie that would be very touching and powerful. But to me, I was like, when they pricked their fingers for blood, I think Anne Hathaway did her pointer finger, but Sam did her ring finger on her left hand. And so I was like, they're married now, actually, in a small
I
way.
just don't think.
In one small spiritual way.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'd love that too, but I just don't think like sometimes you can't go back. It's about finally saying, like, I feel like the I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry from Anne Hathaway was like goodbye. To me, that was goodbye. To me, that was like, I'm sorry for everything I did to you. And I can finally say that I did it to you. And you can say that you know that I mean it when I'm saying I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Well, because
That's what that was to me.
and also it's a callback, and she says it again because she was like, say it 2 more times, but like, wait, like all this kind of stuff, and then she ends up saying
Surprise
it.
me.
But then she ends up saying it 3 more times,
One, two, because you told me to, and one
and
that's
one
just from
for
me.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think the beginning, the tension between them is so interesting. They're so like Sam is fully torturing her a little bit.
100%.
Yeah.
And some evidence of that I think is when she's like, "How's your mom?" And then she's like, "My mom is dead," because In my opinion, there is no way that there was not news reporting that huge pop star Mother Mary's actual mother had passed away. And I think that is also probably an additional point of tension between them, that they knew each other for 25 years. They haven't spoken in 10 years, sure, but that leaves 15 years where they were very, very close. You have to imagine she probably got close with her mother as well. And I would think that that would be, I mean, the idea of doors is so throughout this movie. Michaela Coel's character feels like a door was closed when Anne Hathaway didn't personally tell her, "You're not going to be my costume designer anymore." She only told her, "I need a change," or Mother Mary needs a change, or however she phrased it. But the idea that she would not be invited to her mother's funeral, I think, is something that kind of occurred to me that would be an additional breaking point between them as characters. And I could see why Mother Mary would not extend an invitation to somebody that she is not talking to. And also, her mom just died, you know what I mean? I'm sure she is not in a place to be like organizing anything, you know what I mean? I'm sure she had 100 other thousand things in her head that she was taking care of, that she was focused on, that she was bogged down with, that she could not think through at all. But again, it's one of those things where it's like Sam can't just show up at the funeral, because it's not like Mother Mary is a regular person who's going to post on her Facebook, like, here's when the service is going to be. Whoever loved my mom is welcome to attend. It's like she's a very public figure. And so that's going to be a very private goodbye or funeral or celebration of life or whatever it is. That's something you're not going to have access to without an explicit invitation. And to me, how's your mother? My mom's dead. To me, that was so like, I want you to say to me that you didn't include me in this. And also, I'm poking at a wound for you specifically because I'm so hurt that I've been shut out.
Can we talk about like FKA Twigs in this?
First of all, she looks so cute.
She looks so cute, but like I had a jump scare at her voice. It's like the Mia Goth effect where I was like, is that what you sound like? Are you doing like an accent?
Putting something on, or is that your
real voice? Like, because she's giving that like baby thing, but I was a little confused on her character.
Twigs? FK Twigs?
Like,
sorry, my headphones weren't working for a second there.
Is she like a fan?
I think she's a medium that Anne Hathaway hired for her birthday. I think, in my opinion, to speak with her dead mom. Is what she wanted to be happening there.
I definitely thought that she was the girl that was going to open for her.
I did too.
That's what I thought.
And then I was like, well, that's not her.
I was like, oh, she's a medium as well. And then at the end, we see a different person. And I was like, oh, who was she then?
She wanted to do something special for her birthday on the 97th stop on her tour. I don't know if I'm making up that it was her 39th birthday, but that's somewhere in my head. So I think it was just like, for my birthday, I want to do something special. I think her mom was dead by that point, and so this was like sort of the idea. And that's why she was so into it and so excited about it, and so like, let me say the incantation too. I want to reach out to whatever is out there. I want to be connected to a spirit, and she just didn't have a good idea of what that was going to look like for her in reality.
This Honestly, is just a reminder, girl, to not fucking speak the words aloud. Let's not be speaking incantations aloud. Remember when I said the fucking devil words on the Hereditary episode? My life has never been the same ever since. Just don't do it.
I downloaded an app.
Spirit medium, but don't fucking Ouija board. You're gonna get your lesbian ex's ghost spirit baby put into your soul.
I love a Ouija board, but I downloaded an app that I haven't used yet because I don't really want to use it in my home, you know? And it's called Spirit Talker. and it's supposed to
Don't
like
be
let
sending me
things
home.
like talk through your thing. And I go, maybe I'll go to a graveyard and let it speak.
Yeah, and then
Ooh.
you can just never go to that graveyard again if something bad
Yeah.
happens.
Okay,
Yeah,
but what if I
that
make
sounds good.
friends and I want to go there and chit chat with them all the
Well, then you
time?
can.
Well,
If it goes
great, you can
well, then it goes
go.
well.
Yeah,
Until
like,
it
Yeah.
doesn't anymore, and then
I
you
feel
never
like they need
somewhere
to
you
know.
don't have ties to.
I feel like I need to let these like Civil War aged ghost spirits of this graveyard that I want to go to know about the potential Harry Styles Zoe Kravitz engagement after only 8 months.
I'm
Like I feel
scared
like they
Wild.
want to
those
know.
Civil
Wild.
War soldiers in Alabama are gonna feel about that marriage.
Exactly. I'm gonna be like a beautiful biracial woman and a British pop star, and they're gonna be like, "What's a pop star?"
Lot to take in there.
Catch me like arguing racial politics with ghosts on a little app. I will.
No, you guys, times have changed.
No. You're being really close-minded, actually. Grow up.
And honestly, you were closed-minded back then too, because abolitionists have existed as long as slavery has existed. Okay, guys.
Exactly.
I think Twigs was great in this though. I think FKA Twigs was great in this. Also, I think her voice might just sound like that.
I think she does just sound like that.
Yeah, no, because I used to be like really obsessed with FKA Twigs, and when she did that voice, I was like, that's her voice.
I don't know if
That's
I've
what she-
ever heard her
speak.
talk. Yeah.
Other than in this.
Yeah, like I've listened to
love
her
her.
music and stuff, but you know,
She's got a very Mia Goth type voice. You know what I mean?
Shia LaBeouf has a type on Forge.
Oh my god!
You know what's interesting?
What the
is
fuck?
I feel like
That's
the
weird.
I feel like
Ew.
the music in this
Ew.
movie feels way more FKA Twigs to me, and she did write on at least one of the songs because I was looking at the credits. But
Did
the
Charlie
primary,
also help
yeah,
write
the
on this too?
primary people working on the songs were Charlie XCX and Jack Antonoff. And one of the
The
things that
songs
David
feel
Lowery,
so Twigs.
I know, that's why I was so surprised
That's
that
why I
she
like them
wasn't
so
like
much.
the artistic leading influence there. But David Lowery did talk a little bit about working on the songs, and he said it was interesting because he said he when they started writing them, at first he was like, we just need to come up with 5 incredible songs. Annie, because everybody calls her Annie in real life, apparently. Annie will get in the studio and sing them. And then when Anne Hathaway was getting involved, she was like, no, that's not going to work. Like, I need to be more involved in the process of working on these songs so that they feel personal enough to me, Anne Hathaway, that when I perform them, that emotion exists within the song. And so it became this thing of like Charlie XCX, Jack Antonoff, Anne Hathaway, David Lowery, all of them like working together to find something that fits all of these different needs for it. He was like, at some point we had to wrap the music because we needed to start working on the movie itself. But I wish we could have just kept working on that album forever. Like there's so much artistically going on there that they wanted to work in. Let me see if I could spell Jack Antonoff's name, that would be so helpful. Yeah, he said they needed to be personal to Anne Hathaway and to Mother Mary and to David Lowery and to Jack Antonoff and Charlie XCX. That required a constant process of exploration and revision and trying to synthesize what it was that was important about this fictional artist. What she represented, not just to us, but to the culture that we were imagining she participated in. And none of these are things that you can just hit with a bullseye. You can't just throw a dart and nail it. It takes a lot of rinsing and repeating, or in Anne's case, a lot of going into the studio and recording the songs over and over and over again, adjusting lyrics, trying out different things until you finally find that alchemical synthesis that allows you to achieve whatever it is that great pop artists achieve that make their songs so good.
I love that she was so involved.
Yes, and
she lives her truth, and I love that she sings, but I already knew she could sing.
One of the articles that I read from Polygon was like, David Lowery breaks down 3 scenes. And the first one is like Anne Hathaway's 6-pack, because
She did have a six pack. It was a jump scare a little bit.
No, it literally, the article is like, this scene includes a moment where Anne Hathaway lifts up her shirt just high enough to reveal an absolutely shredded six pack. There were audible yelps of shock during my screening at this scene that rivaled any of the supernatural stuff that followed. And
Jump
it
scare.
says that David Lowery did not ask Anne Hathaway to get ripped for the role, but when she read the script, she realized how physical it was going to be and what it was going to require of her. And she showed up on set basically like this after training and going to pop star boot camp 3 months before filming started, which makes sense because her dance that she does for spooky action, where she's like supporting her whole body weight on her forearms with her
That shit
legs
was
held
crazy.
akimbo. That is crazy core strength. She needs that six pack for that moment.
My cousin B has been doing that a lot recently, and she just called off an engagement, and they went to what would have been her like bachelorette party just to like party anyways.
Yeah, for sure.
And
Oh,
they
good for
went
her.
straight from the club to the airport at like 5 a.m, and she was hungover hitting that exact pose like in the airport waiting line. It's
Good for her.
But-
That's crazy. That's
glorious.
crazy
That
work.
pose really just like exudes emotion.
And also that whole dance was so like an exorcism, and
Yeah.
to show that like something unnatural is happening. A force is like lifting her up off of the ground. She's not on her feet. She's like thrown into a hole upside down. She's, things are out of her control. She's perfectly in control because she's holding her body so perfectly like that. But she's turned upside down by what's been going on with her, pulled by a force that we cannot see.
I just really quickly want to say some of the things that I thought this movie was going to be when I thought I was looking for
Sure.
clues to predict the twist. I was like, okay, there's some witch shit going on for sure because I'm not an idiot. I saw Anne Hathaway's hands. Then, like, the way the stage was in the very opening, where it had those, like, weird boxes, I was like, is it going to be revealed that this is actually, like, before all the scenes that we're seeing that are performances? And, like, is Sam, like, a witch and she's going to, like, trap Anne Hathaway with something on the stage? I wasn't sure if she was, like, the costume designer, if she was going to do set design. I wasn't sure, like, how involved she was going to be in whatever, because it's very literally the beginning of the movie. So that was another idea that I had, which would be cool. That'd be cool. The whole thing was a trap, similar to Trap.
Similar to Trap. It
Yeah.
all actually
Supernatural
comes
this
back
time.
together.
It's like a trap, but it's of a different nature. Then here's my big crazy one that I don't know what it means. There's the part where Sam pulls up her shirt in the back and sees the big scar down her whole spine from a spinal surgery she had after just about hanging
fall.
herself in the middle of her concert. And then she takes a shower, and in the shower scene, I could not see the scar. And so then again, I was like, Sam had a vision of the future, and the thing when she falls, when she falls and die, and like is being hung or whatever, is something that will happen later, and that's the reveal, and she's already dead. And like these are all these crazy fucking ideas I was having, and I was like, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be clocking for Chelsea, but I'm doing my best. Anyway, so none of those were right. And can you believe that with all that going on in my head, I was still super locked in and enjoying it all? But I was like, I'm just taking some mental notes. There's definitely some sort of witch thing. And then I was like, which one of them is going to be dead the whole time? I was really sure. I was really sure that one of them was maybe dead.
Somebody's gonna be
one of them
dead.
was
Their
the
love.
ghost,
Their
like
love
they
is
were the
dead.
ghost. It's their love that's dead. In the end, it was their love that was dead. But it's not actually. I think that like they still love each other, but they can't
Be
together,
Together.
be in each other's lives. Things have gone. You can still care for someone, but they like don't fit anymore. You know,
The
That's what
love
this
can
felt like to me.
exist, but if it's made into a dress, it's still outside both of them.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I thought I only noticed on a second watch, I don't know if either of you, I don't know if you are like able to catch it on a first watch because it technically comes even before the A24 credit
yeah,
in
of
the
course I
beginning
saw
with the
that.
studios, that little fall.
Yeah.
But you don't know what it is until later. And then they go, everyone's seen the video. So it's like that's just one of the little cell phone
I saw that.
videos.
I told you I was
See?
locked in.
Yeah. And I told you if anyone could be, it would be you. So, but I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. It was,
Also, just some other
it was
notes that I
very
have.
upsetting.
You cut me out of the work, so I cut you out of my mouth. Um, of course, it feels like it must be mentioned that all of the imagery, in addition to being fabric and religion, it also feels very vaginal, menstrual, uterine, blah, 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 which feels related to, Mother Mary giving birth, delivery, blood, exorcism, dead tissue.
Mhm.
I mean, there's a lot in there that all kind of fits together. But I liked at the end too when we see her studio. It's like the part that's in the credits, when we're seeing her barn in an empty space. What you see are keys and sketches and skulls. And that felt related too to the idea of like things die, but doors can be opened and new things can be created. And those things exist in conversation and in tandem.
At the end where Sam is like when Mother Mary cuts open her chest and then Sam pushes her finger in it and you see the finger, it did look like a vagina being fingered.
It's both a vagina being fingered sexually and they're consummating their love, and also like a birth, like doctor's hands deep in there to birth something
to pull it
new.
out.
Yeah. And I also have in my notes, she's Mother Mary, Virgin Mary, because they never fucked.
I like that.
Yeah. I like that. Oh. Man. I really like this movie. I don't know.
The tableau, just to one more thing. The tableau, if we're talking about like the set design, he did talk about how that was a lot of like Renaissance inspired art. So I think about like the Last Supper with the way that those are laid out in the beginning with like her in the center and all of her disciples like stretching out around her on either side.
There is a shot for like 5 seconds. I think it's art that Sam has in her house or in the barn or somewhere. And it's like a shot of who is it? Adam, and they take Adam's rib out. It was either Adam and the rib thing and the rib becomes a woman, or it was Jesus. Doesn't he get like stabbed?
Yeah, he has like a wound.
The wound. So I think it was the Jesus thing, probably more likely. But there is like literally that image of the rib cage wound.
There's also the gold, like, they're not really light holders or whatever in her house, but they're like praying hands, sort of.
Candelabra.
And Anne Hathaway has her snake tattoo, which feels very Eden, fall of humanity, blah, blah, blah. Totally. Original sin.
And her hand tattoos, which for me were like, she's a witch and she's doing spells.
Witch stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
She's into spells. That's why she hires a medium to summon ghosts. And
spooky bitch. Also, just like one really quick side note, what was Kaya Gerber's like role? Because did you notice that I know it got really artistic when it was like the montage parts and things were like warping in and out of reality, especially part where like Anne Hathaway is like already
running
been
down the hallway.
Well, that's not the part I was talking about. When like I don't know if she's already had, she's already had the spirit enter her or something like that. I don't know. It's when she's like really fucked up and she's like falling down the stairs and going up the stairs,
going up and down.
Yeah. And like Kaya Gerber is like obviously doing some like dance related thing in that because it's all very choreographed and like the backstage is the front of stage and it's all mixed together. But then like she's one of the dancers later on too, and I'm like, just what is her role? Because is she a dancer? Is she a personal assistant? They just were like, we got Kaya Gerber. She's gorgeous. Let's have a dance.
She's in the
Let's
entourage.
make sure she does a little dance. It's very important.
Yeah, I
look
think
great.
I decided she was an assistant, but I didn't notice
Yeah,
her being
me
part of a
too.
Assistant
choreographed
slash
dance.
dancer.
I think she's supposed to be her assistant, but like to make it aesthetic, they have her like
Mm.
the last person to
Do a
go
little
in, and then
dance.
she's doing like dances with the others just to like blend in.
Yeah. Well, she slayed. Great job, Kaya. Are we ready for our
Segmentos.
I don't know, I feel like I
Chelsea's
just
not
had
showing.
something else to mention, but it's gone
If it
now.
comes to you at any point, you can just start saying it. It's safe
'Kay.
here to continue. Okay, how could this movie be gayer? They could have consummated and made her no longer the Virgin Mother Mary.
At the
Um,
end, she changes her name. She's just Mary.
Yeah.
it's so interesting to like look at what straight people think about this movie because I was like, I didn't get to watch this one guy do a breakdown of like all the themes, but sometimes I watch his videos and I like him. And a lot of people in the comments, like he doesn't have like a queer following, obviously, like he's just like a movie guy. So I was reading the comments and like there's a lot of people being like, I don't know, I think it's definitely a queer movie, and I'm like Ed, what was said where we don't think this was like that there's a possibility that it's not, you know what I mean? Obviously it's not like explicit, but that scene where she measures her again and is writing the numbers on her skin.
Mm-hmm.
Whew.
Yeah, I mean, I do think expectations play a role, and because I was expecting it to be a queer movie, I was frustrated the first time that it was so subtextual.
Yeah.
Um because I was like, how come everything that is not everything, but how come so much of queer media on a mass stage exists only subtextually and is never consummated, and they never get to kiss? Like, they never actually take that extra step, and we just have to accept that that's the queer representation that we get, that they don't actually kiss. um but on a second watch, I felt more connected to the queer story that was being told here, and like it was very present within the movie. And unfortunately, yeah, that is a very common queer experience of like the friendship that is confusing or complicated, or the feelings are unspoken or unacknowledged, or even if known and acknowledged and mutual, it can still never like take that extra step into a physical, sexual, or romantic connection beyond just like an intimate touch experience. Um, so I think that that is there. But here's one thing that maybe this is what I was going to say before. When I was texting with AJ, he was like, there were no men in this movie. And there are men in this movie in the background.
Where they belong.
Where they belong. But I also think you could argue that every person that you see in the background who you go, I think that's a man, could be a non-binary person. Like, they're so there's not enough information there to even really say 100% there's someone in this movie whose gender identity is man. So
Wow. I love
almost
that I
everybody
didn't
is a woman.
even notice that there wasn't really men in this. Love that for
They
me.
play no part in this story.
They're not.
And I
Yeah,
don't, and I don't
mean,
need them to.
it is beautiful that a man was able to create this story for us, and that's a man's participation in this movie. But I don't know, just an interesting thing. And if you said that everyone in this movie was a woman or a queer person, I'd believe it.
Me too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it would have been so great if they had kissed. But also, sometimes that's reality that they don't kiss.
But sometimes
Yeah,
I just need homo romantic representation.
I think that's is part of the like DNA of the story, that there is so much that was left unsaid between them before and after the falling out, you know, like there was no, I know we are talking about we don't all feel about like closure is not what everyone is looking for, like we talked about earlier, but like they never got any answers on like what was that feeling that we had between the two of us, and also what happened that ended our friendship and our partnership as collaborators, as artists too. So it's like I think that adds to the uncertainty of the entire uncertainty is like a bedrock of their relationship. So
I also think it's possible that that sort of physical relationship did exist for them, and the uncertainty was still like, even if they did kiss at some point or something happened, if they never like talked about it later,
exactly, yeah.
or if they never explained like, oh, we're not just being silly, goofy gal pals, you know what I mean? If there were never words put to it, there's room for that physical sexual relationship to have existed for them, and still have not come to fruition enough for them to have fully recognized that, like, I want to be with you. Or maybe it was like, I want to be with you, we're being together in this way, but we can never be together in this other way. And so I don't know, I think there's a lot that you can extrapolate or speculate about based on the song lyrics if you really get in there.
Yeah.
But it's not part of the story that we see on screen, which is interesting. The only thing that we see of their backstory is that one photo.
Yeah.
True.
Cute photo. Very cute. Okay. Any other gay thoughts?
So many more gay thoughts.
Matthew Lillard. He can't be in it, actually, unfortunately. Gender bent Matthew Lillard. Who would he play? Who would she play? She opens up for Anne Hathaway at the end.
She is the Fleabag sister character.
Mm-hmm.
That could work, though I love Fleabag's sister character.
Yeah, I think
Anna.
also I think Matthew Lillard could be one of the people that is just like a little worker bee in Sam Anselman's London fashion house. When we like go through that space in the beginning, it's like you just keep Matthew Lillard in the background.
She's actually in the crowd when the tooth thing happens.
You know how FKA Twigs says that she met lots of friends while she was in line for 2 hours? One of those friends was Matthew Lillard.
There you go. That's it. Easy, easy. It's because he supports women.
Matthew Lillard did the interview with Mother Mary for Vogue. It was one of those artists on artists things.
Oh, I love that.
That would be amazing. Okay. Dumb bitch. Kind of a hard one. Because it's like not that kind of a movie. Or like, I mean, like Anne Hathaway should have been better about ending their relationship if she was going to do it.
Well, honestly, it's Anne Hathaway a little bit for not giving Sam the credit. At least,
it's Anne Hathaway. It's Anne Hathaway.
It is. It's just Anne Hathaway. Like her, and she could have, like, it could have been her team telling her what, like, to do, but like in the end, it's still her making those decisions and stuff like that. So, unfortunately, I think Annie.
I think that the team aspect of it is really present in a lot of ways that you don't actually see meaningfully on screen in the movie. And I read that David Lowery quote earlier about the music, and how they needed to represent the culture that we were imagining she participated in, is what he says. So I think that is speaking to the heteronormative, compulsory heterosexual culture that we exist in to some degree. Her team coming up with this idea that she can be a pop star for the gays, but she can't be a gay pop star. Also, that she is this like iconic figure in her own right, and so she can't be seen to be part of a collaboration between multiple artists. She needs to be standing alone to be the pop figure. It's like, don't you want to be the star? You don't want to be someone else's art. You want to be your own artist. And so I think those are a lot of the like voices that are coming in there.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, it's just a shame that Mother Mary was being kind of a dumb bitch about listening to those outside voices instead of quietly channeling her own
Listen to your
inside voice.
heart. Yeah.
When it's calling for
Coming
you.
for you. Oh man, I really like that song.
We're pop stars.
Yeah. Okay. So are we ready for Knives Out of Vibes?
Sure.
Sure. Let's go. Also, just want
Um,
to say Anne Hathaway is right. The fucking Halo hurts like a motherfucker. I am
Yeah.
well,
dying
that's
right now.
because people are trying to outdo themselves all the time. So they're not being made for you by someone who loves you.
No, it's because this one's from Amazon.
And so are the rest of hers. No. Anyway, on IMDb, this movie has 5.9 out of 10. It's not fantastic. And on Rotten Tomatoes, it's not a huge difference, but it's a significant difference. This movie has 68% from critics, which is fresh, but 57% from audiences, which is rotten. And there are no awards to speak of at this time because I don't think this movie did the festival circuit at all. I think it like just came out in theaters in its own right. So that can't be part of the discussion yet. Um, but yeah, the numbers show that this movie is being received in many different ways and may be a little controversial or divisive. And I think that is probably a lot of people are, I mean, maybe people just don't like it, but I think a lot of people, it's kind of what I experienced where a lot of people are not necessarily prepared for the movie that they're getting on a first watch. And if you don't have a podcast about it, you might not go back for a second watch where you can evaluate what you're actually seeing independent of whatever the trailer led you to think you were going to get.
Totally agree. I also just really strongly feel that this is not a movie for everyone, which makes me love it all the more. Like, this is not a movie that, like, the average horror fan is gonna love because it was lightly marketed as a horror movie in some regards. You know, it's supernatural at the very least. Because it's not that type of movie. I mean, we were going to talk about like what genre this is. Like, it's not a horror movie, it's a drama. It's like a very emotional, artistic, like allegory, all of it, you know? And it's very theatrical doesn't make sense because it's a theatrical release, but like it's like a
Of the
play. It's
theater.
of the theater, yeah. And that's, like that's why theater nerds are theater nerds and like not everybody identifies that way. It's not the way it's structured isn't gonna like get everybody going. And why, like I said earlier, while watching this, I was like, I could totally see why Caitlin hated this. I could totally see why anybody would hate this. You know what I mean? Just because like it's a slow, torturous, but not, I didn't feel tortured, but like it's a torturous process that these two are going through. Like it's a torturous excavation of a love story. I'm using scare quotes, but like a relationship that's gone wrong and like how that can haunt you in many different ways. And so like it's very artistic. It can be like I saw a lot of people being like it's snobby, it's highbrow, it's blah 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 blah. Like I don't feel that way. Whatever however people feel about it, they feel about it. But I think it's just like it is putting a like pretty universal feeling into an artistic space. I don't know. I think it was like a beautiful meditation. It really felt like just like free flowing emotion for an hour and 50 minutes. And I don't know, I found it to be really really effective. I found it to be really effective. I love that this exists. I think that like something I've been talking to a lot of my friends about lately is just like how it's so hard to make a movie like this these days, or just like a movie that is more niche, because all of the like big film houses and studios are like looking at that bottom line, and they're trying to like make something that everybody likes, so everyone will go see it at the theater and they'll make a bunch of money, and that's like the main motivation now. But like it's like hard to make like a weird movie anymore with any support. I think this is a weird movie and it's not for everyone, and I'm really glad that A24 did it. And I don't know, I loved it. Like when I watched it, I was like, am I gonna give this 5 knives out of fives? Like so many of our listeners are gonna be pissed off at me for that because you guys probably hated it, some of you. But like I really loved it. I was just like I felt the word that came to mind after I watched it was I felt bewitched by it. Especially because like did you notice that both the characters were witches? That was like a subtextual thing. So I think I am gonna give this.
That's actually the
Yeah, that's
twist
like
that
a.
Monica noticed that other people didn't get.
I don't know if you were clocking things like I was, but I was locked in and clocked in, and yeah, it's actually about witches. No, but I did love it. I loved the music. I thought they nailed the pop star angle. I love that it was weird and that it was a play and that it was like just like them like her saying the words out loud that like past Anne Hathaway was also saying out loud, and they're saying it together. Like how weird, like how interesting. It all just really worked for me. So I'm gonna get it 5 knives out of fives, and that's my prerogative.
I am going to give this 4 knives out of fives because I surprisingly liked it. But my biggest takeaway from this movie was I think I want chin lipo.
Why was that your biggest takeaway?
Because we get a lot of side profile views of Michaela Coel and Anne
She just
Hathaway.
has the craziest face of all time, and it's so beautiful, like a painting.
She does. It's literally like Alien a little bit, like Michaela Coel. Like she's got big eyes and high cheekbones and like
I could stare at her face all day.
jawline that is like beautiful. And I don't like my side profile. And so I was just like, oh my God, should I get chin lipo? And so now all I'm getting is chin lipo TikToks, and it's very
You
validating.
had the thought and
I had the thought
quantum
and
entanglement of you in the universe to bring it
said,
back
what
around.
But like
the particle somewhere far away knew what you were thinking about, and so it started serving you TikToks.
Like this part I think should be further back. Like
I think
Anne Hathaway and Michaela Coel. But like I like this movie. It was weird and it was beautiful, and now I want chin lipo.
Oh my God.
So 4 out of 5.
It's changed you, and soon it will change you physically, and wow.
Okay. I think I can't remember when I had this thought. I don't remember if it was driving to the theater to see it a second time or if I was driving away, but I was thinking, am I going to give this movie 4 knives? Like, I think that was my plan at some point. As we've discussed, I have a little bit of a different interpretation of the ending than you guys do, but for what I found the movie to be, the idea that even if they're not together in the future, I'm not saying they're going to be together in the future, but even the idea that it can be to some degree something that is acknowledged, at least that I've made my love for you into this dress that you can wear and that is tethered to me, and that even if this exists only as an idea that Hunter Schafer is whispering in my ear as I'm working, it's like I pour my love into this and I create something real that exists in the universe. I thought that was like a really beautiful notion. And I liked it so much more on a second time. Because at first I really was like, damn, Pop Star Horror Month goes out with a whimper because it's not very pop star and it's not very horror. But I think both of those elements are like this movie has some very disturbing gore in many ways. Like when Twigs cuts her hand open, and everyone's acting is so
I was
like level
gagging.
11 throughout this
Mhm.
movie. Everyone's performance, whether or not you liked the movie, everyone's performances are so incredible and palpable and emotional and tangible, and they like reach through the screen to grab you and force you to feel what they're feeling.
And
I don't
fucking
know. I think
throttle
it's
you, yeah.
very well done. I wish there had been something more to the cover your ears, this song is cursed. That's one of my only things that I like take points away
Yeah,
for.
that was weird.
Cause it's like that is so not what's going on there.
Well,
You know what I mean? Like I see
what
the
I
idea.
thought was that was the I thought that was the visuals for the concert.
Mm,
That's what I thought was happening, which makes it just like a fun thing, you know.
yeah.
But like the way it looked was like it was for us, you know. But like that's
Yeah.
how I explained it away, but I don't know if I'm just giving them a pass, you know.
And I think you can make some argument about it, about the song being cursed because it's this idea of broken love or love that has died or been killed or that anyone who hears this song will feel this same heartbreak that was felt creating this song. But I just think in terms of its placement in the movie, it doesn't help set you up for the movie that you're getting. That being said, opening with that monologue very much sets you up for the movie that you're getting because it's very much like I'm going to be whispering metaphors to you this
Sweet
whole
nothings to
next
you
hour
this
and 45
entire
minutes.
movie. Yeah, get ready.
And so I liked it a lot more on a second watch that the movie was a metaphor for this experience or this moment or this feeling, and that David Lowery's intention was to like take this intangible feeling and make it into something that exists in its own right, that is just this feeling pressed into a ball.
Mm-hmm.
Um but I that one moment I'm just like, what's going on there? So I duck a little bit. I'm gonna give it, I think I'm settling on a 4.5 knives out of fives.
That's a great one. That's a great score. Oh, well, can you believe it? That's the end of Pop Star Horror Month. That's
Ba-ba-ba.
crazy. I hope that there's a fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth installment into Pop Star Horror Month someday. You know, there's a lot there.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had a lot of ideas that haven't come to fruition, you know, like there's more to do. You just got to make sure you get Annie Hathaway in the studio writing the songs with you. That's part of the
Mm.
spice that you need, part of the sauce.
And
What?
here's what I will say. Ariel from Opus is writing an article about what happened with Mother Mary and her costumer who got cut out behind the seams. And Lady Raven is investigating the Smile Demon. And I think all of these stories are really intertwined in the end. Just like you said, this movie was a trap for the spirit.
Yep,
And you
it's
can do
right
that with
there.
all of them if you have a beautiful mind.
I'm so glad we finally got to do this theme. Thank you, Mother Mary, for coming out. Whatever you have to say about the movie, you should thank it because it allowed us to do Pop Star Horror Month. But now it's time for whoever introduced Over Your Dead Body to introduce it. Okay, you just go.
Yes. So next up, we are doing a movie that, at in theory, none of us have seen yet. In reality, we had to record out of order, so we have seen it, and we've
Yeah,
already
so we
recorded
already
that
did this
episode.
episode. Yeah.
But in theory, if I were to introduce this movie as I would have if we'd recorded in order, we covered this movie in our trailer reviews. We did a trailer review for Over Your Dead Body. So it is a new, I would say black comedy more than a horror necessarily, but there's certainly horror in there. So, I was very excited when we were offered a screener for this movie. So it is on our lineup, and that's what we're doing next.
Woohoo! Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm excited. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. Why not in a 5-star review say, damn, I really learned about the cross section of horror and pop music this month, and it's because of you. And now I have a bangin' fucking playlist. 5 stars. There you go. I was thinking we should make a playlist. Pick out the best in songs.
What was your favorite song from Mother Mary? Did you have one?
I was listening to it in the car and I was getting so emotional. And I was like, what are what even? I really like Cut Ties. That's the one
About
that I
cutting
think.
ties.
You know the one about cutting ties.
No, I mean that wasn't one I was gonna say that's the one that affected me the most. But I really liked Burial because I love that she's like, this is a burial.
This is
I
your
like
burial.
this is your burial. I really like that. That's cunty to me. I was like, yes. It reminds me of that part in Lady Gaga, Rain on Me, when she's like, I'll be your galaxy. It was like that to me, except like very different vibes.
Tsunami.
I like
I love
when
that
a Lady
song.
Gaga-esque pop star goes into the mic and says talk things. It doesn't happen that often, but 2 times now.
But damn when
What
it
about you?
does.
Whoa, crazy.
Sydney, did you have a favorite?
I literally could not tell you any
Sure.
musical song about any music. Like the music in Pop Star Horror Month did not behoove me at all.
To listen on Spotify in your car. Sure.
Yeah, no.
I listen
fair.
to the music for all of the movies that we've covered on Spotify in my car. And I will say for this movie, I found myself very much singing along to My Mouth is Lonely Without You. That's the one where I really am starting to like pick up the words and vibe along to it. But I also love in Holy Spirit too when it gets like really big, the part of the song where it gets like huge and really more belty than operatic, which she does a lot of in this role and as this artist. But My Mouth is Lonely Without You is my banger for sure.
I just also want to correct the record, and the song that made me cry was Blue Flame, not Cut Ties. So sorry about that. I got confused.
Not Cut Ties, which is about cutting ties.
No, it's about blue flames that are really hot. Anyway, you should follow us on social media and see all the funny things we come up with to talk about this movie. And by we, I mean Chelsea. So you should follow us. We're at Spooky_Tuesday on pretty much everything except for Facebook and Tumblr, where we are at Spooky Tuesday Pod. Check out our website, www.spookytuesdaypod.com. Oh my God, I forgot what it was for a second. And one-stop shop for everything. Ooh, am I glitching?
One stop shop for blah, blah, blah. Start from there.
One-stop shop for everything Spooky Tuesday, every movie we've ever covered. It's very beautiful. Also, we are on Patreon. Join our Patreon. We've got a Patreon vote coming up sometime in the next quarter. You could be involved. Patreon.com/spooky_Tuesday. Check it out. Join the club. See how many shout outs the patrons got in this episode. That could be you.
That could be
Also, we're on YouTube, and today we've got a lot going on. Chelsea, you go first.
I am Wet Rat Anne Hathaway, Mother Mary, from the beginning of the movie when she shows up out of the rain and walks straight through the fashion house and just delivers herself and is like, I need a dress. I stop time.
I am Mother Mary in her first performance that we see, not the pre-credits one, the actual first performance that we see when she's wearing the cunty thigh-high boots and the black gloves and the bodysuit, and she is just serving, you know. And I also have a little
Sydney's
bit of
there with you.
Sydney
with
me. Who's
I
Sydney?
am Spooky Red Ghost.
Wow. So you can see all of that. There's a lot of visual
Sydney needs to
gags
take
this
a picture,
episode on the
contorted.
YouTube. So check that shit out. We're on YouTube to subscribe. And yeah, thank you so much for listening to Pop Star Horror Month and Spooky Tuesday every single week. We love you so much, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye, Spookies.
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Height, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamara Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at Great18. That's GR818_. And our podcast art is by Ryan Brom, who you can follow on Instagram at Ryan Brom Art. That's RyanBrommArt. Learn more about Spooky Tuesday at spookytuesdaypod.com and subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/spooky_Tuesday.